All right. So when I say like getting really tense, especially in your shoulders, that's a killer on this drill, right? You all know what I mean, I think?
Yeah.
All right. We're going to do a couple more little like drills. Again, they're not performance things. It's just for your awareness, but it's to help understand how to get the gun to go from point A to point B. All right? And what do we want you to do to make gun go from point A to point B?
Look at point B.
Yes. Well, don't stare. Just look. Staring's for after it's there, right? But yes, look where it's like I want the gun to go from here to there. Just look at it. Again, this is the same as you use a mouse pointer. There's a lot of parallels. Now, if I want to, click on, we're in Texas, so I have to, we've searched it now. We know the answer, lesbians, right? So it's like you look lesbians, then you're like, look midget porn, right? That's how we get it to do what we want. We're going to click on two things. Now, when you're using a computer, do you focus on pushing the mouse around the pad faster?
No.
Do you think that's going to be productive here?
No.
I mean, it sounds crazy when you say that. Like, yeah, if you click on stuff really fast, to do that, you slam your hand. It's like, what? You intuitively know that makes no sense. Same thing here. Look from one spot to the other. Now, what happens if I follow the mouse pointer around on the screen? Am I going to have precision? No. So the big tell, what we watch for, is if the gun does this. Like, it goes like that. So it's transitioning, and then it changes directions. Does that make sense? Well, I'll explain it. So you could basically look at two things. Either you're going to look at the sight or you're going to look at the target. People are not very good at just looking in space. So if I look to the target I want the gun to, I want the gun to go to, the gun will make a straight line. So even if I look down, I'll look down, gun will track right to where I'm looking in a straight line. If we see the gun change directions like that, that means you're on the sight, you're transitioning over now. Out of the corner of your awareness, you're like, oh, that's actually the target. It's a little higher than I thought. And then the gun will track upward. So if the gun just goes just a straight line from one point to another, that's telling us, yeah, your eye's doing the right thing. When you ever see direction changes or speed changes, one thing that's really common is this. It's like the gun's coming, the gun goes like that. Now, what usually happens when the gun comes in and then slows down a lot is the person's looking at the target, the gun's coming to them. Now, about here, they become aware of something. What do they become aware of? The sight, usually the red dot, and then their eye goes whoop over to the red dot, and then they gently bring it in the rest of the way. We don't want to see that shit either. All right, again, it should be natural, intuitive. Look where you want to go, and the gun will come to you. I'll make an example for you. This is just for your awareness. This is not a performance thing. All I'm going to do is start with the gun up on target. Joel's going to give me a beep. At the beep, I fire the shot on that target. We're not assessing that. Then I just look to the other target. So to be shoot, look. All right, watch my gun. That's going to show you a lot here about what I'm doing. All right, we're all ready. Okay, so you saw it a few different ways. Let me talk you through what I did. At the beginning and end is what we want. You just saw it was like magic. It felt like magic. I hope it looked like magic. It was like, shoot, look. It was just like, boom. And the gun would go right to where I'm looking, no conscious effort, nothing. I just look at that black piece of tape, comes right there. Then I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna go fast. And you could see the demeanor change. It was like, all right. And then I started pushing the gun, and it was like, it would come over and wobble around. What should it look like when my sight comes in? It should just be like, comes right to the sticker and stops. I shouldn't see it come back, slash around the target, nothing. It's just like nothing's happened. Just look over, it comes right there. Then sometimes people perceive that they're doing that, they're pushing the gun around, and they'll do the next thing I was doing. What happened there? Did anybody catch the third thing I was doing?
Yeah, you were like over.
Yeah.
And then coming back.
Yeah, it was just like, boom, gun comes back, and then I'd look. I mean, you You should not see your sight return down to the intended point of aim on the target you're shooting. You immediately disregard it visually and look at the other one. That's an immediacy thing. It's like, no, as soon as the sight's lifting, I'm done, look over here. And it'll go right to where you're looking. Again, we're not looking to, it's not about doing it fast, it's about doing it immediately. Get the difference? Okay. You have questions about this? Sir?
Does it change on white transitions?
Does what change?
So you look at the spot, the gun speed, does it change at all? Do you slow down the gun?
Yeah, so if that's a good question. So we have intentionally set this up so that the targets are very narrow. When the targets get wide, and like to me, it's if I'm shooting this way and there's a target here that I can't see out of my in this field of view, then this will be a little bit different where your head's gonna come off, the head for sure comes off the gun, finds a spot on the target, and you'll start pushing a little bit, like just a little bit of mechanical effort with the gun.
And do you slow down when the gun already
What the way that works for me is if I'm finding the target, I'll push the gun, like I'll be actively pushing with a little bit of shoulder pressure, just a little bit, tiny bit, until I see the gun come into my awareness peripherally, and then I stop putting that pressure. So it's kind of like attack, relax.
just let the motion like finish?
It's not, I'm not letting it, I'm just looking where I want it to go. My body will sort it out. The more consciously you get involved in this, like the harder it gets to do. And I want you to take this as a personal attack. The engineer brain guys, they are very good at like overthinking all of these things. Cause you know what I mean? They're very good at finding a way to screw themselves. So it's like, that's what I'm saying, like, be very careful with this. And it's like, just for context, like what we're talking about here, like a wide transition technique, we would never talk, we wouldn't plan about talking about that in this fundamentals group because that's so minute. It's like you're picking up a 20th of a second or a 10th of a second if you do that, what I'm talking about, really, really good. But it's like 3 times as hard to do it that way. Does that make sense? Yeah. So it's like right now, it's like, no, just look where you want to go, let it come to you, really polish that, and then eventually, yeah, the transition gets a little wider or a little different, whatever. Then you start adding a little bit of juice into it in a very, very, very controlled manner. Make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, good.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So, I don't know, maybe it's building on from this morning, but what's the thought process of doing 6 shots here and 2 shots back there?
Great idea, great question. So we're shooting 6 shots up front, like I said, just to build up the tension in you,
Okay.
because it's a much different, like the idea is like most people here are gonna have a hard time drawing and shooting that aggressively without building up all this tension and getting locked onto the gun. So like in order to get the effect we want out of this, we have to shoot a bunch of rounds on this one. And then we're shooting just 2 back there just as like a little, just, yeah, did the gun go where I want? That type of a thing.
Okay.
Good. Any other questions? Good. All right, let's try this.